Test 1 2. Talking to the mic.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Hello, 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 hello. 1 2 1 2.
Move it. I don't know.
Closer.
For some reason, like the mic always has a hard time picking you up. Either you're overdriving it because you're laughing, or you're too soft.
1 2 1 2. Talk like this. Hello, 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 hello. 1 2 1 2.
Up your mic fucking skills. What the fuck are you doing?
What the fuck?
How long we been at this?
I think a year.
More than that.
Year and a half.
Now you're too loud. I'm just kidding. Ready when you are, son.
Ready?
All right then.
Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Rev and Filo show. Thank you for joining us. Here we are again. Another podcast about absolutely nothing. Unprepared. I have no notes. Felipe tends to have a lot more notes than I do, but I always tend to be more interesting regardless. No, I'm just kidding. It's just me and you today. We've done a couple, we did a few where we had some people on.
Yeah.
Personally, I've told you this before, I like when it's just me and you, especially when we do like a couple shows where there's people on, we have a guest or maybe even two guests.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, for some reason, like, I feel like the stakes are higher. There's more to worry about. We got to worry about their microphones. We have to worry about their cameras, and, like, we kind of have to host and sort of produce in the show, you know what I mean, and actually make sure everything's working.
Yeah.
And because, we don't have a staff,
I forget about those days because like the last couple that we did with the guys in, like nothing went wrong.
Right.
Like,
Nothing goes wrong now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, we used to constantly have issues with our computer or the cameras running out of space or we didn't have enough fucking tripods.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then COVID happened and then we didn't have any guests for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, did we bulk up on equipment or something while that? I don't think it was intentional. And
no,
if we did do it,
I mean, definitely organized our shit.
We definitely got a little bit more organized for sure. Because then when we finally had a show with some homies back, I think it was with Jrat in Orlando, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which was a few weeks ago. Remember we did the show. Mm-hmm. And everything went off without a hitch. And I think it wasn't until like a couple of days later that I was like, hey, did you realize that we didn't have any issues the other day?
Yeah.
Like, we just got on, we turned everything on, we pressed play, we did the podcast straight through, and it was over.
Yeah, it did. And then I remember because that was actually on the phone, and I was editing, and then that's when I realized, like, and you told me that, and while I was editing, I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, we got through it without any stops. Like,
and ever since then, we've kind of been on a roll. We probably just jinxed ourselves.
Yeah.
But
watch our cell phones explode.
I know, huh? Fucking the computer just catches on fire.
But also too, like you know, it was really cool too when you said we were like a pit crew when we had that
because
episode.
What were we doing? Oh, that was okay. Yeah, we did the Grill 'Em All episode and like. Well, we were like up against a clock for some reason.
Well, because the food, because it was so greasy, we knew like once it got cold.
When we ate, for anyone who saw the Grill 'Em All episode, when we ate the food, it had already kind of got like kind of cold.
Yeah.
So like we knew that was gonna happen, so we tried to like get here and set up ASAP, and of course when there's more people. There's more to set up, and then like my computer's a piece of shit, so it's slow and this and that, and you know what I'm saying. And like
warm up,
and we moved quickly and we got everything done, and we took everything down because like we had to leave for some reason after we were done. We had to like get the fuck out of there, and I don't even remember why.
You said you had something to do. Right?
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
it's funny how. It was important, yet I don't even remember what it was.
I know.
And we're like, we gotta get out of here.
I know. Yeah, because you even had Mike and Dave helping out, like, yo, guys.
Yeah, I'm like, let's get it done. And I couldn't even tell you what the fuck it was we were leaving for.
Damn.
It's funny, like I can remember like growing up, like remember being a kid vividly.
Yeah.
And I remember being a teenager vividly. I can place memories and remember things like I can like picture them in my head, you know, almost as if like I can go there in my head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I got older and I started drinking and smoking pot and, you know, doing other things, and it's sort of been that way ever since, you know, like this sort of like constant party in a sense.
Yeah.
The last 10 years, I can't place shit. Like things happen and I just instantly forget about them.
I remember you guys were telling me, well, we were hanging out Friday.
Yeah.
I remember you like Sean was bringing up all these stories, and you were like, "Fuck, I can't even fucking."
Yeah, it's funny because
pinpoint."
like, you know, I kind of knew Stan.
Yeah.
Me and Stan went to high school together, but I went to high school more with his brother.
Yeah.
Stanley's my roommate. His name's Sean. His name's not Stanley.
Yeah.
But which is what we call him for some reason. But when I was a senior, Stanley was a freshman, and like I had met Stanley a few times, and it was like, oh, that's Mario's younger brother, and that's just kind of how I knew him, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't until later on, after high school, that in fact that we started sort of like becoming road dogs in a sense, you know, like you know, going to parties and this and that. But what's funny is like when we were like 20, 21, you know, going to parties and trying to get fucked up, like Stanley was like still in high school. He was like 17, still like his senior year, this and that. And like, I always forget that he's that much younger than I am.
Yeah.
And I remember, we used to go to clubs, right? Or we used to go to bars and shit when we were like, when we all turned 21. Right. It was like, yeah, you know, let's go to the bar, right?
Yeah.
You won't catch me dead at a bar now. I can't afford it, but, we would use my ID to we would get Stan in with my ID, and he would be like 17, 18.
With your ID?
So what we would do is we would go in, Stan would wait outside, we would go in, get in, and then Mario would take my ID and go outside with his, and then give it to Stanley, and then they would go back in.
Huh.
And they always let Stan in. It worked every time.
It's funny because like you look nothing like Stan, unless when
back
you were
then,
younger.
I had a lot less of the white hair. I was all a young man, and I didn't even really fuck with the beard a lot back then either.
Yeah.
I couldn't really grow a beard when I was that age. You know, like it wasn't really worth it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess you know we're fucking brown, black-haired, you know, Chicano guys. So, you know, plus like. It's not like it's fucking, you know, customs, you know. It's just a fucking door guy at a fucking random bar in downtown LA.
But man,
you know?
I've seen some door guys do extras though, like you know, like go with the light and fucking put it right next to you, and like let me see you, look at me right now. Like,
yeah,
I've you know, so like,
I remember, I remember this one time, going way back even further when I was 18.
Yeah,
I had a job at a restaurant in Alhambra, Fronteras. I think it's still there.
Fronteras?
Yeah, is it still there?
In Alhambra, where on Main?
On Main Street, right there by Rick's.
Oh, that shit. Oh, if it's the one I think you're talking about, they keep constantly change. Like,
did they change their name? Anyways, it used to be called Fronteras. It's that restaurant. It's right next to Rick's, across the street from Cold Stone. Anyways, I used to work there as a busboy. I was telling you, I was a busboy earlier today. And the people who lived across the street from us, where my parents live still. The neighbors across the street, the guy, he owned it. He was like a partial owner with a couple other guys.
Right.
So, and like, they were friends with my parents for years, ever since when we moved in when I was like 12ish, you know, and they came over like, hey neighbors, you know, and like we became friends, or they became friends with my parents. And, so when I was 18, I was like, my mom was like, all right, you need to go get a job. And I was like, fuck. I was like, all right. So I went across the street, and I asked the guy. His name was Richard. I asked Richard. I was like, I need a job. Can you hire me at your restaurant? And he was like, kind of grilled me for a little bit. But then he was like, yeah. He was just fucking with me. Like, he was going to give me the job anyways. But he was, I don't know. He liked to do that. You know, he liked to fuck with people.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's, you know, that's not even. So I worked there, and I was a bus boy and this and that.
The last time you told me that story, it came back to me now.
What story?
The same story you just told right now.
Have I told that story before?
But you told it differently.
Same story. I went over and fucking he grilled me and then gave me a job.
No, yeah. The last time you were like, "Oh, I knocked on his door."
I did.
Yeah, you're like, I knocked on his door. I talked to him. Anyway, he grilled me. Then he pulled me in, molested me, and gave me the job.
Oh, that was. You know me, man. I'm always riffing. You know, I might be telling the same stories, but I'm always like, you know, just riffing.
You may be told the same story twice by Rev, but it's gonna come different.
Shit, that's not true, by the way. I don't want to fucking like, you know, Richard fucking. He's gonna get me too'd, you know.
Oh shit. Yeah.
That didn't actually happen. He did give me a job though. Thanks, Rich. Wherever you are. And anyways, so I worked there for a while, and back to because we were talking about door guys, right?
Yeah.
So in Alhambra, back in the early 2000s, not even early, like late 2000s, like because like this was like 2007, like the summer of 2007, which was the year I graduated high school. They used to have the Jubilee. Remember that? They used to have like a concert in front of Alhambra High School. They would shut the street off. And it was right off of Main Street. They would shut the street off, and they would have huge concerts. And thousands probably of people would show up, and they would be all over Main Street because Main Street has clubs and restaurants, and then the concert, and then
it's like the Echo Park Rising, pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And it was free. It was a free event. Like you didn't have to need tickets, so people would just. You never went to that?
Never got to.
Okay, so so on Saturday nights, like it would be nuts, like crazy at the restaurant. People would be coming in and out constantly, like eating. You know, this is right before 2008, so the economy was still booming. You know, people were fucking going out to dinner all the time, buying drinks, this and that.
Just like the 20s.
Yeah. Little did we know, you know. Yeah. So on Saturday nights, it would be popping, crazy popping.
Yeah.
And like I started as a busboy, but slowly but surely they started to give me sort of more like serving duties. I never actually became a waiter because I quit before that happened. I don't know why, but I wasn't into the restaurant industry after a while. It was too like, I don't know. It was a lot of work, and I didn't care about it that much.
Yeah, I feel you because I worked at Universal for the concessions. It's not the business, especially because you know, like you said, when it's constant work and you're going back and forth.
Oh my god, dude!
And then people are just fucking assholes sometimes. You just
we were bust our asses. Anyways, so on Saturday, so across the street, like I said, there was nightclubs across the street. There was a couple of nightclubs that Richard, my neighbor, also owned with some other people.
Yeah.
The Havana House.
Oh, he owns that?
Well, I don't know if he owns it anymore, but at the time, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And then there was one next to it called Azul. I don't know if Azul is still there, but
yeah, it is still there. Actually.
Yes. So Havana House is a cigar house, so it's not. And then Azul is a more straightforward like club. You know, you go in and you know what I'm saying. So they had a door guy at Havana House. So Havana House didn't have a kitchen, as did neither Azul. So what you could do is you could order food from Fronteras, which is a Mexican restaurant.
Damn, and get it sent
and
over?
then we would bring it over. So I would make runs every once in a while across the street. So there was a door guy at Havana House because it was 21 and over.
Yeah.
And he was a nice guy, but he looked like The Rock. You know what I'm saying? And like at 18 years old, I was still like, you know, coming off of being like a huge Rock fan. So I'd be like, wow, you look just like The Rock, bro. You know, this and that. And he would be like, you know, he started blushing and shit, you know.
Ooh.
Yeah. He'd be like, stop it. And but I'd be like, man, fool, you look just like The Rock, you know, because he was like a big guy. He had like, you know, dark skin, you know. Yeah. But he had a mustache. He had like kind of like a pencil mustache a little bit. So like we kind of like became like kind of friends, you know.
Yeah. Damn, you were friends with The Rock? Nice.
Yeah, like the Rock ripoff, Rock Jr. And so we became friends. So one day so I used to go and always deliver, and you know we would say what's up. And so one day I'm not working, and I'm walking down the street. I'm on Main Street though, like chilling, doing whatever. And I think I was actually with Mario, and we're walking down Main Street, and we walk past Havana House, and it's Saturday night or whatever, and he's there. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, yo, what's up? I wasn't working, so it was even a more casual sort of encounter, right? So like, I think we chopped it up for a few minutes, and like, I don't know, I might have been like drunk or whatever. So I was like, yeah, you know that. So like, I hit him on the shoulder, you know, like a little bit. and I felt under his shoulder, or like right here, I was like, yeah, and I felt that he had like a bulletproof vest on.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know why I did it, but like, I was like, what the? And I didn't realize he had that on, so I was like, hey, what's this? And I like grabbed it and like kind of pulled it a little bit, and he like reacted and like grabbed me and like put me in like
oh shit,
lock, you know, and I was like, oh shit, and he was like, dude, like got me like I was like, ah. And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, bro." And he kind of like, and then he kind of let me go.
I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck, dude, like, I didn't, you know." And he kind of like, and then he kind of let me go, and he was like, "Sorry, bro, you can't like, you know, I'm still security, like, you can't be like putting your hands on me like that, because I'm gonna react, you know."
Yeah.
I was like, "Shit, my bad." So yeah, some door guys do get, you know, they take their shit a little too seriously.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But I might have been in the wrong too, you know, personal space. You know, we weren't like fucking best friends, you know.
Yeah,
we were like, I wouldn't even say we were colleagues. We just kind of like knew each other through those small busboy interactions.
Yeah.
Shit. You know me, and I'm, you know, I can't counter that. You know what I mean? He would have fucking
shit. Well, you're saying you're getting,
like
you're
overpowered
getting,
me.
Yeah, he's like bending your arm back. The Rock is bending your arm
back. Yeah, dude. And what's kind of like, oh wow, this is dope. Mario, take a picture.
People elbow, give me the people elbow.
Can you rock bottom me? Mario, get the camera.
Crown me. Crown me. Damn.
It's funny. I still make rock references. Like I'll go over to my parents' house for the weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
My brother will be there with my niece, and like sometimes she'll be a little brat. So when she does act out where I'm around, I'll be like, "Hey, I'll fucking rock bottom you right now, all right? You better fucking chill out." And she'll just look. She don't even know what I'm talking about.
No,
she'll just look at me like,
"What kind of threat?
Daddy, where's my dad?"
Fucking rest. Damn, I just ran into that new movie. I haven't seen it yet. That new movie with The Rock, actually.
Which one? Rock comes out with so many. I hate to say it, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not into The Rock as an actor, Dwayne Johnson. I follow him on Instagram, and like, you know, he's a cool guy. At least I see him so on Instagram, and I do have a lot of nostalgia for him as a wrestler when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, I just could never get into like The Rock as like an actor, you know. I don't know.
I mean,
I saw that movie like Central Intelligence, and like I was like, this movie's not that funny.
Yeah, it was kind of like they were banking off the whole Kevin Hart Rock kind of like just
Kevin
the names.
Hart too. You know, I got to be honest, and like, you know, I don't want this to come back and bite me in the ass, you know, later on when we're super famous and we hang out with The Rock and Kevin Hart. But Kevin, okay, when I was in high school, I used to watch Comedy Central all the time. And Friday night, and this is, you know, I was not, my parents were kind of strict, and like I was kind of a loser. So like Friday nights, a lot of times I was home just watching TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I used to watch a lot of, they would have Friday night stand-up on Comedy Central. And like they would just play stand-up all night, like different 30-minute specials. And there would be like Jim Gaffigan, Dane Cook, Kevin Hart, you know, all these comedians who had not really gotten super big. That's like that. Like getting a Comedy Central half-hour special was like a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like in the stand-up comedy scene, you know, you start at open mics, then you start actually getting like at like clubs where you get booked. And then eventually you start doing specials. Like back in the 80s, they used to have a Rodney Dangerfield had a HBO Young Comedian special.
Yeah.
And you would get on HBO. And like Jerry Seinfeld, Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay, they all came through there. And they would get on Rodney Dangerfield's show and then eventually shoot into big time. Right?
I forgot about those Comedy Central specials, like how big of a deal they are, because
Comedy Central was almost like MTV back in the day, where it was Comedy Central. Yeah. It was like mostly stand up. They would play stand up almost all day, and then eventually they started to get more original programming.
Yeah, and
right?
then Netflix kind of like
Netflix kind of took over. And what's funny is HBO used to be like where comedians would get specials. And that was like the stepping stone. You know, you would get on the Rodney Dangerfield Young Comedians, and then from there you would get your own HBO special, right? And then in the 90s and like early 2000s, Comedy Central kind of took over that. And then I guess, like you said, now it's kind of Netflix, where they, you know, they're known for the, you know, if you're a comedian, you want to get that Netflix special.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, anyways, what was I saying? Oh, so Friday night stand up. So I used to watch it all the time, and a lot of comedians that got really big, I saw them like on there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them never went anywhere. And I remember watching the Kevin Hart stand up, and it was really fucking funny. I remember thinking like, man, this guy is so fucking funny. And what I liked about Kevin Hart is that he was a black guy, but he didn't do like traditional like kind of black comedy, if that makes any sense. Like he was much more like self-deprecating about himself. He made fun of himself a lot more. He kind of made fun of like the fact that he was short, and that like people would like emasculate him a lot, or he like
That's
his girl.
right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it wasn't what you would expect from a black comedian. I mean, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, because I mean, who'd you have? Like Bernie Mac.
Even like Patrice O'Neal
Yeah.
and people like that, and like who were like a little bit more tough. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And Kevin Hart played the opposite, where he made a point to point out that he wasn't tough. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was true or it was a joke or it was a little bit of both, it was really funny.
Yeah.
And I, man, but like, I don't know, like when he got mainstream, I don't know. For me personally, I don't know. It lost its edge for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Or maybe for me, it got a little too over the top.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe he just like overexposed, or like like maybe it was just.
If I had never seen that, and maybe only had discovered him when he became more like mainstream and was getting like big time movie stand up specials and like going into movies and this and that, maybe the novelty wouldn't have worn off, like the erratic, like short, sort of crazy guy. But I don't know, because I saw him when he was up and coming, and comedians or any artist that doesn't have to sort of bow to corporate or executive peeps in order to sort of break that, that what do you call it, that wall or that ceiling to get into mainstream. You take more risk. You don't have to think about,
that's true.
Sponsors or getting paid or what Standard and Practices thinks, or what I'm saying. Like even now, we answer to nobody, so we could do whatever we want. But like if the podcast continues and we actually get to a level where people are cutting us a paycheck, and now we're making money through sponsors, we'd have to become a lot more self-aware, or maybe not. I mean, South Park seems to get away with it.
Well, they're doing what they love.
Remember, we were watching that South Park documentary. Remember, Matt Stone even said, he goes, if you look at the early stuff, he goes, we were actually a lot more tame back then, because we were still sort of making our mark, and same thing, and they were on cable. Yeah. But same thing, they were like, we wanted to, we had to, we couldn't go too crazy, you know what I'm saying? But like he goes, now it's like the shit we do is like fucking like insane, like that fucking Human Centipede one.
Oh my god. Dude, that poor fucking the chick, what was her title?
Oh, the girl. So South Park. We're watching the South Park documentary, 6 Days to Air. It's on HBO Max.
Yeah,
it's really cool if you like South Park, and if you like to see like behind the scenes of like things in production. It's really cool to watch. I would recommend it. We didn't finish it, but
no, but it's really good. And
they just show you like how they make their episodes, and like so obviously they have a whole staff of animators, writers, who do the music, people who help them record, they do the voices. But there's a lady, there's always administrative people in a business, right?
Yeah.
There's the lady who like has to talk to Standard and Practices. And for those who don't know, if you haven't seen that new Chappelle special, he talks about, he has a joke about Standard and Practices, but Standard and Practices is pretty much the people who say that you can't do that on TV.
Yeah.
They give you permission, and they show this lady who's like on the phone, right? Mm-hmm. And like she, South Park's been on for 20 years.
Yeah.
And like, so this lady's been dealing with Standard and Practices for South Park, the most like controversial show of all time.
Yeah, and having to explain.
And she just looked like tired, bro. Like she just would look into the camera, and she looked down. It looked like she believed in them, and she knew that she was part of something great.
Yeah.
but she just looked very tired.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you know what? That's like, you can give all the credit to Matt Stone and Trey Parker for everything, but that's the lady that's kept them on the air. Let's not not give her credit, because you know what?
Yeah, because I mean, like having to explain like that episode specifically.
Which one? The
centipede.
The centipede one?
Yeah,
I'm
like,
so sorry, Kyle.
Yeah, like that episode, having to explain to executives,
Yeah. We're gonna have a what are they, 4th grade or what? How old are they?
Yeah. So Kyle's 4th grade, so they're gonna have him.
So we're gonna have a child in between 2 adults, and the male adult's gonna be shitting in the child's mouth, and then the child's gonna be shitting in the lady's mouth for a while.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know.
Like, I would love to hear a conversation, like what that conversation would.
I know how, like, really, like. I mean, I don't know.
That's like me and you pitching, or like one of us talking to Carol,
Right,
from
I'm pitching like, so we're thinking of doing like a human centipede thing, and like we want the music center to sponsor us, like a family friendly, like. It is Comedy Central though, and it is cable, and I mean at this point South Park is like.
I mean, if it's on HBO now,
I mean, I would go as far, and I haven't seen as much South Park as like you have, or as Mike, or even like Guap.
Yeah.
But I mean, South Park is one of those shows that like I haven't seen a lot of episodes, but every episode I've seen, I'm like, holy shit, this is the fucking funniest thing. I like, this is insane.
Yeah.
This is insane. And like, the great thing about South Park, I don't know if it's intentional, like, or this is just Matt Stone and Trey Parker's sensibility, but like they have this amazing ability to take a very like futile, sometimes even like gross or like concept, but have it speak on like bigger, like these bigger issues. They know how to whittle them down to these like really like almost ridiculous concepts, but like it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And like it's like this commentary on society, but it's also like it's almost whenever I watch South Park. What I feel, how I always feel, is that it's like they're showing like how ridiculous like society is, especially American society. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how like mobby we are, and how like easily influenced we are, and all these things. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because they even poke fun of themselves, like a lot of
For
times,
sure.
and their fans, because a lot of the fans will commentate on that and
For
bring up how like, oh, South Park brought this point up,
right?
And then especially like online, and people will be like, oh, you see, like they're commentating on society, and they're like, yo, dude, we're just making a fucking joke, like we're not.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, that's why like when I see the show, I'm like, man, these guys are like complete geniuses,
Yeah.
But then when you watch that documentary, and you see the way they write and the way they come up, like it looks like a bunch of guys just trying to make each other laugh. Yeah. And they're not thinking about, oh, we need to comment on these bigger issues. And you know what I'm saying? They just have a thought, and they have an idea, and then they just start fleshing it out. And it doesn't seem like, you know what I'm saying? It seems very natural, and it doesn't seem calculated. It just seems like they're just riffing,
Yeah.
And which is like, man, they're not even, which is even almost more frustrating or like intimidating, because it's like these guys, they're not even trying that hard. You know what I'm saying? This is just what comes out of them. Like they're not even, they're not sitting there, doing rocket science. This is, like I said, this is just their sensibility. Like they don't even have to try that hard to get this quality of work, or this quality of concept and writing. And it's like, fuck, like that's so rare. That's rare. Think of how many animated shows there have been since The Simpsons. Because The Simpsons really kind of kicked it off in terms of like adult animated comedy being popular. And I was telling you this the other day. We were sipping, and I was kind of like saying how like you have to realize when The Simpsons came out in 1989, and those first couple seasons, though they may be tamed, almost cliche, or almost what's the word? Fuck, man. I hate when I forget words. It fucks with my flow.
Yeah.
It seems almost what do they call it? God damn it. Formulaic. Fucking English.
You did it.
you watch Simpsons. Talking about the Simpsons, you watch them now, and they might seem tamed or even formulaic. The Simpsons was like complete counterculture at the time, and it was a complete like satire of the like 1980s like cheesy Full House. Well, I don't know, Full House was in the 80s, but like that cheesy sort of like Different Strokes and fucking Silver Spoons and all these like super formulaic shows, and it was like it was crazy to think that like Homer was a drunk and like Bart was like an asshole, and Lisa really was kind of the Meg of her time. Like Lisa would get shitted on consistently in the early episodes.
Yeah.
And so anyway, The Simpsons was a big deal. It was a revolutionary show. I've seen seasons 2 through fucking 8 a million times, and I tell you what, I'm going through them again right now, like for like this third time since the quarantine, and those episodes never get old, and they always make me laugh, dude. Every time.
Damn. So up there, like, just on animated shows that like lasted that long, what's it, South Park?
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, South Park is in terms of influence and just infamy, and also like how long they've been around, and like the level of comedy they're putting out. Like South Park is on par with The Simpsons, and you know me, I love The Simpsons. You mean like, come on, look, fucking got that shit on my fucking arm. Yeah, South Park is right up there. So, what my point is though, like, there's been so many animated shows that have come out, really, and like, how many of them are like, known, like legendary? I can only think of The Simpsons, King of the Hill, which I think is actually very underrated, but like for those who are into King of the Hill, know that King of the Hill is like one of the greatest shows ever made.
Yeah.
Some people might debate this because I know there's some people who love and some people who hate, but Family Guy, you can't deny its cultural influence.
Yeah, that one, you hate it or you love it.
Yeah, and South Park, and if you look at the guys who created those shows, with the exception of The Simpsons, Seth MacFarlane, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, Judd, what's his name? Mike Judge. I mean, these guys are they do it all. They do voices, they comedy write, they fucking do music, they know how to write music, they're just fucking geniuses, like artistic, creative geniuses, And the reason why I say, with the exception of The Simpsons, the creator of The Simpsons, Matt Groening, a great artist, and if you look at The Simpsons, what made The Simpsons funny was the writers they had and the showrunners they had, especially for those golden eras, like David Merkin, Al Jean, Conan O'Brien wrote for The Simpsons during its golden age, and then there's a lot of people I don't know, John Swartzwelder, these guys were like these were the prolific comedian writers, this and that. I don't know if I would call Matt Groening prolific. I met Matt Groening once.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
And I fucking you would have thought I was meeting the Beatles or something. Like I almost fainted. I was like, oh my god, because The Simpsons are so influential on me, especially.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of my personality and my comedic sensibility, if I have any, comes from just watching The Simpsons on repeat forever, like since I was a kid. I told you before, I used to have a VHS.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the full seasons, but it was this VHS, and which, with the old tapes, you would have a VCR and you could record TV, right? And my dad would record. What is that? Yeah. It was like an external hard drive. Think about it like that.
It was made out of stone.
Yeah, it wouldn't just.
It had a squirrel. You need.
Yeah, there was a hamster running. Yeah. There was 2 hamsters because you had 2 spools.
Oh yeah. I forgot about the second hamster.
2 hamsters, right? You would have to replace the hamsters and feed them.
They weren't that expensive.
Yeah. So I used to have a VHS, and it had all these sporadic episodes of The Simpsons, from all the way from season 2, maybe even some season 1 stuff, season 2, season 3, season 4, and maybe even season 5. And it was on this VHS, and in the summer times, I would stay at my grandparents' house. Sometimes I don't know, I'm not gonna fucking give you the origin of my life, but you know, summertimes I would stay at my grandparents' house. My grandparents, they didn't have cable.
Yeah.
So, you know, daytime TV in the fucking 90s was all soap operas and daytime talk shows. They still are, I think. I don't know. People stream now, so I don't know what TV's like anymore.
To be
I don't
honest,
really watch TV.
My dad is probably the only one in this house probably that still watches regular antenna fucking.
Sometimes I think about like watching TV just because like the thing I don't like about streaming is you constantly have to be choosing what you want to watch. You know what I'm saying? So you watch one thing. That's why people binge shows, because like you just throw a show on and like it just keeps playing and you don't have to worry about like picking another shit. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So what I do miss about TV is kind of like they kind of told you what to watch and you had to like kind of bend to the TV schedule, you know? And
go ahead. Just tell me what to watch.
Yeah, in a sense, you know, you had to. I remember, like I said, you know, we were big in The Simpsons when I was a kid, and new episodes would come out Sunday at 8, you know, and we would plan me and my dad would plan the whole day around 8 p.m. And whatever we did, we had to be home at 8 o'clock because we had to see the new Simpsons, because they didn't have Simpsons DVDs. So if you missed it, you missed it. And you had to wait until it would get rerun in syndication. And like if it was a new episode, you weren't going to see it in syndication for years.
Damn, and then your friends are talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And like sometimes we wouldn't be able to be home at 8 o'clock on a Sunday, so my dad would tape it, you know, and this and that, and we would watch it. And then we would throw the tape away. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't, you know, because we just want to see it once. Like repeat watches were for fucking reruns on weekdays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So going back to this tape, I had a tape of all these episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So during summertime, when I had nothing to watch on TV, I would get this tape and I would put it on, and I would just watch it. I would watch it. I remember, and then they would syndicate The Simpsons 2 times a day during the week, Monday through Friday. They would play this rerun Simpsons twice a day, and I would watch it every 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Then they changed it to 6:30, 7:30 every day on Fox, and I was there. I was there every fucking time. 6 o'clock Simpsons. 7 o'clock Simpsons. I remember I would watch it. Like, okay, I got 30 minutes, and I would go outside and play for 30 minutes,
and then
I would go back inside and watch the second one, and then they would have 8 o'clock. The only times they didn't have The Simpsons, and it was Saturdays, and I hated Saturdays, at least for TV. I loved them for playing outside.
There's nothing good on Saturdays.
There was nothing good on Saturdays, and then they started playing it again at 11 o'clock. They would play them again at 11 o'clock. And every time The Simpsons was on, I would watch it.
Damn,
and then I had to take
all the time slots on.
Oh, dude, my whole fucking life, you know, and that's why, like, now, like.
What about when they went on FX? You remember that? And they did.
Yes, but by that point, we were already older. I think we were already in our 20s.
But I remember that being a big deal. Like everybody.
It was a big deal, but by that point, I had moved on to getting DVDs, and I started buying like season 4, and that's really when I started to get the DVDs, that's when I started to realize how much nostalgia I had. I always knew I was a fan of The Simpsons, but when I started watching, you know, the shit I used to watch as a kid, but as an adult, you know, you can really appreciate all the layers of comedy.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of jokes I didn't get as a kid, and I just used to have this like a lot of nostalgia for and like it was like. Watching it for the first time, because there was so much new content that I was able to digest.
Yeah.
But then also, like, remembering being a kid and, like, all these episodes would take me back to being small and watching that tape and this and that. And
damn, like that guy from Ratatouille?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, like you get that palette you didn't even know you had. And, and yeah, dude, my fucking whole life revolved around The Simpsons. And like to this day, like I reference The Simpsons on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And like a lot of, I mean, how many times are we talking? And I'm like, that reminds me of that one joke on The Simpsons. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I mean, one of the reasons I got Disney Plus was because, you know, you would talk about having, you know, Simpsons.
Yeah.
Simpsons, and then Disney Plus announced that they were gonna have all the seasons.
Oh, dude, that I remember that was a big fucking deal.
Yeah, that was
because
insane.
the FX thing.
Yeah,
you had to have FX on
Yeah.
cable, so you couldn't just get a subscription to it and watch it. So it was still very hard to get it.
yeah,
And they, that was their, sort of, what do you call it? That was their plan to get traffic to their channels. Oh, you got to get the channels. So now
Yeah.
they're having people, because there are people out there like me who are like dedicated Simpsons lovers and will watch those episodes over and over again.
Mhm.
But I didn't because I can't afford cable.
yeah.
So
Dude, I know. Like some of the apps that came out back then.
yeah.
I want to say like when the FX app first came out, when HBO app first came out, like they were fucking like mad expensive, dude. I remember like
That's why
they were trying to sell them like an
That's why
actual
Netflix
subscription.
probably got really hot because like
Yeah.
Netflix was affordable.
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember like HBO was trying to pass off their app as like a cable subscription, so it was like initially it was somewhere around like $25. And yeah, dude, and FX was like similar, and then he had Netflix like at $8.
Yeah,
$10,
for sure.
yeah.
I mean, like I think Netflix is like $12 now.
Yeah,
Like that's outrageous.
yeah, I know. And then you got Disney Plus. You can get
Right when they moved it over to Disney Plus, I
Yeah.
was like, sign me up. Because
Yeah.
I would have signed up for the FX one
Yeah.
if they had a normal subscription, but they
Yeah.
they wanted you to go through the channel, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's not in the cards for me, so. I just buy my DVDs. I prefer the DVDs anyways. It has a lot of extra content, and like sometimes they do the episodes do get like edited.
Yeah, I remember you told me that they have like the commentary. That's dope.
Dude, when I first started getting DVDs, I would watch. Talk about getting into it. Like this is when I really started to really like study The Simpsons. I would watch an episode, and then I would rewatch it with the commentary. Like right after, I'd watch it, and then I would restart it and put the commentary on. And I did that for every single episode. Like when I would get a new DVD.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fascinating. Like I love to hear that shit. I love hearing about like the process. You know what I'm
like
saying?
What happened? Yeah.
And like, because like I said, like you sort of build this fantasy where like, man, how are these guys like that smart and man, like they're geniuses and this and that. But then when you sort of hear about it, when you hear them talk about it, it's almost like, it's inspiring because you realize that they're not geniuses. They just work really hard at it, and they're just taking cracks at it. And for every great idea, there's 100 bad ideas or 100 ideas that don't work. You know what I mean?
That's what I was actually going to say, going back to like the South Park documentary. South Park is going on like almost 24 seasons, right? I think this new season would be their 24. That's that's
and
over
the thing
20
about
years.
South Park too,
Yeah.
is that South Park is still really funny, if not funnier than it was when it first started.
Yeah.
The big dig on The Simpsons is that there was this golden era in the beginning of the first let's just say 10 seasons,
Yeah.
and it kind of lost its mojo, and it kind of did because like I especially since I got Disney Plus, like I just go through The Simpsons like over and over again.
Yeah.
And, I was watching those early seasons, and I was like, let me move on from there and see. So I started getting into, like, season 12, season 13, season 14, and, like, they were okay. And I remember when those episodes would come out new on Sundays. I remember being, like, a young teenager and watching them and being into it just because I was into The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And, like, I was watching them, and, there was a certain amount of nostalgia for them.
Yeah.
And then I went back and started watching from season 3 and just go from there. And it really is mind-boggling how superior those early episodes are. Those early episodes are just like insanely funny and insanely like smart.
Well,
but
I mean,
South Park,
was it like a different?
they have different
writers.
Here's
right?
the thing, is that the staff of The Simpsons, the writers staff, the showrunners have changed.
Yeah.
Matt Stone and
Trey
Trey Parker, they still write, they still record all the voices. They're the ones coming up with all the ideas. Like they're so hands on. It's amazing. It's inspiring.
Exactly. So like going back to what I was saying, having that experience 23 or 20 plus years, you're gonna make it look easy. Like from the documentary, that documentary was done around 2010. So even at that, that was about 13 years of experience.
Right.
So you're gonna see that it's gonna look easy. It's just like you said,
For
like
sure.
For
Practice
musicians,
makes perfect.
Exactly.
And also, I'm a teacher of mine. I used to be in drama in high school. You know, she told me two things that I'll never forget. One, she said I couldn't act. Don't bother. Which she was probably right, which is fine. You know, I wasn't really trying to be an actor, but you know, I just kind of did it for fun. But she did say that to me. But she said another thing that I always think about, and it actually is like, okay, like that's what you want to strive for if you're trying to be like an expert. Or she said, especially when you're performing. But I guess it could apply to anything, any skill. She goes, the way you know someone is really good at something, like an expert, is that they make it look easy. When you see them do it, they make it look effortless. Like it's not like they're not even trying. Because they're just so good at it, you know. Not to say that they aren't trying or that they aren't putting that. The fact that it looks that way is because they put so much work into it. Because they spend so many years and hours refining whatever skill it is, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like that's so like you know, sometimes we'll be hanging out and like I'll start playing the guitar, right? And I'll just be like, oh yeah, check this out. I was working on this riff, or I was fucking around with this little thing, and I'll play it. And I remember one time you were like, man, you were like, you make it look like so fluid, like you're not even, you know, you effortless, you know. So, and that makes me, I take that a very high compliment because of what my teacher told me, that when people, when you think, man, they make it look easy. Yeah. That means that they've really refined their skills. So that makes me, you know, because I think I'm kind of shitty. I don't think I'm shitty, but like, I don't think I'm as good as I used to be. I used to be in a band, and we would practice every day, and I was playing gigs all the time. So I was playing all the time. So obviously, I just had it under my fingers a lot more, and it was just I took all to the point where like I didn't have to think about, like I could do it without almost thinking. You know, I could like literally. Like muscle memory and like think of other things and elaborate on the music, you know.
See, like to me that's insane, you know, from another level. Like,
but you don't play the guitar for sure. Like for me, like I feel in the grand scheme of things, I would say I'm somewhere in like the lower middle in terms of skill, because I see guys, I don't know guys, but I see people playing, even, you know, I say guys, but even there's girls out there too who are just fucking monsters, dude. And they're so fluid on the neck, and they're so fluid in their right hand. Now, see, the thing about playing guitar is when you look at people playing the guitar, you look at their fretting hand. For me, it's my left hand because I'm right-handed. You know, most people are right-handed. So you're looking at the hands on the neck and what they're doing, and they're soloing and the chords they're doing, and you know. For some reason, your eyes go there because, you know, it looks like it's doing a lot, and it is. Yeah. But the real magic comes from your strumming hand. And I don't feel I have as much right-hand control as I would like. Mm-hmm. And so...
so somebody who's just mastered the strumming, what would that be?
Here's the thing. Is strumming is kind of beginnerish.
Oh, okay.
Beginner to intermediate. Real... intermediate to expert, there's two styles that I would consider like expert if you are like fluid in the style where like you make it look easy. There's finger picking, where you know you're using all your fingers, and like you can create these rhythmic melodies and these chord melodies to where it sounds like two guitars, you know. Because you could do a lead and you could do chords at the same time. Or you could do like a melody and chords at the same time. You could do like a bass line and chords and melody all at the same time. And you can only do that if your fucking right hand is like fluid as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
I'm imagining almost like a harp.
It is. Because it's chords. Yeah. So like you can do what's called arpeggios, which are broken up chords. A chord is when you play a minimum of 3 notes or more. You could do chords with 4 notes, which are called seventh chords. Mm-hmm. I don't, you know, well, I do know why they're called seventh chords, but seventh chords only have 4 notes in them. Why they're seventh chords, I could explain it to you, but most people probably wouldn't understand, so it would be way too much. But anyways, and then you just can continue to just stack notes and play chords. But if you do arpeggios, you break the chords up, so you're playing each note individually in like, you know. You can only do that with the harp, the guitar, and the piano. The piano is just a harp turned like this.
Oh shit!
And then when you play the piano, when you hit the keys, what you're doing is the hammer comes down and hits the single string, and then the string vibrates, right? So like, you know, a harp, you're just playing the piano in your lap, and you're like using your fingers.
Huh.
So, quick fun fact.
Yeah.
Piano is actually considered a percussion instrument. Percussion instruments are usually drums, you know, different types of drums.
Yeah.
But a percussion, by definition, is anything that you hit. So, xylophones, where you're hitting it with the mallet, but you're still getting melody, those are considered percussion instruments. Piano, same thing. When you hit the thing,
you're triggering
the hammer comes down and hits it. So it's considered technically part of like the percussion family, like drums.
Oh shit! You can play the piano. You're still playing the drums.
Yeah,
baby?
that's why piano, like, you can get a lot of rhythm out of the piano because, you know, because it's a percussion instrument.
Damn, I love watching people play like that.
Oh, dude, I want to learn how to play the piano. Like, I love like that New Orleans fucking boogie woogie, and that ragtime.
Especially when they do that.
There's this guy. Okay, I'm gonna recommend this to you, and I'm gonna recommend this to our audience because my friend showed it to me once, and it blew my fucking mind.
Oh shit, I'm ready.
Especially if you're into music.
I'm ready.
There's a guy. His name's John Cleary. John Jon Cleary, clear with the Y at the end. And there's a video. He's a musician. He's an older cat, but he's from New Orleans. And he's a piano player, and he's a monster piano player. You want to talk about making it look easy? I mean, the guy's fucking a monster. And, like, he's not even barely looking. You know, he'll look away. He'll, like, laugh and shit. And he's killing it. And he's like, yeah, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a video of him, and what he does is he sits at a piano, and he's in the camera. He's, like, kind of getting interviewed. And he's talking about New Orleans jazz and all the different styles. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, you know, there's this style. And he starts playing it. You know, he have all these great New Orleans styles. And he just starts going through these styles so fluidly, like effortlessly. And it's just mind-blowing. And the guy's a monster. And he just goes through all these different styles. And he kind of talks about the time period and where it originated from a little bit. And then he's just killing the piano. And, like, if you're into music and you're into piano playing and you're just into people who are just really good at playing instruments, John Cleary is someone you want to look up. Chuck, my homie Charles, who I used to play in a band with, he's the one who showed me. One day we were hanging out, we were getting all drunk. Yeah. And he's like, hey, you want to see something cool? Yeah, he was like, yo, you want to see something cool? I was like, yeah. And he threw it on, and I was like, fucking blown away, dude. I was like, and I still watch that video from time to time.
And it wasn't just the booze, I swear to God.
It wasn't the booze, but the booze helped for sure. Anyways, I forgot what I was gonna make a point, and I forgot what it was.
Damn, I kind of forgot too. I was so into the
yeah. We were talking about fucking piano, and the fuck was I gonna say?
The guitar.
Oh right, I was talking about picking
strumming.
Styles. Okay, so there's finger picking, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's what's called hybrid picking. Mm-hmm. Now, hybrid picking, it's kind of like, I remember when I was a teenager, if you wanted to be considered like a good guitar player, you know, in the local Monterey Park scene, you know, there was something called sweep picking, which is like this technique that's used a lot in metal. You don't have to use it in metal. You can use it however you like, but it's very common in like metal genres of music. Mm-hmm. And it's this really fast, really precise way of playing. And it's cool. I never was really into it. Mm-hmm. I'm more into like feeling and rhythm and blues and like kind of more rhythmic type lead playing.
Yeah.
But so I never got into sweep picking. But like, yeah, if you wanted to impress people, sweep picking, because it just looks really hard, you know, and it sounds cool, you know. But what
would be a song with the like?
Fuck, I don't fucking know. Any kind of like Pantera song or fucking, you know, heavy shit. Mm-hmm. is the most common place you probably find it. Maybe in classical music too. Classical and metal actually share a lot of parallels, believe it or not. Anyways, but now we're good.
Yeah.
Anyways, but now the big thing now, like it for me at least, from what I watch, is something called hybrid picking. What hybrid picking is, when you play the guitar, you know, you have a pick, right?
Yeah.
So you have a pick, and then even with the pick, there's different styles. You could do downstrokes. You could do alternate picking. There's different ways to go about it. But hybrid picking, you have a pick, like in your hand, right, with your pinky and your finger, your pointer finger, index, pointer,
the
index
pointer
and,
finger,
index and the thumb, the
That's
fat
your
one and the pointer.
That's your trigger finger, boy.
Yeah, the trigger finger and the fat one. So you're picking like that, but then you're using your 3 other fingers to do like a finger pick motion. So you're like,
so you're strumming. And,
so you're strumming, and then you're also using your other 3 fingers kind of like as backup, and it creates this illusion of tremendous speed. And it is. I mean, it's not an illusion, but it kind of is, because you're using a technique to create this sound of like really fast notes, and it doesn't always have to be fast, but see, hybrid picking is used a lot. I think it originated with like what was called chicken picking, or like which is like country western and like country music, like really fast, like country music and like even like bluegrass music.
Yeah.
Where you're playing like at a really fast tempo, like you know what I'm saying? But now people are using it to like play the blues and play more like swampy type rock and roll type shit, and like I can't do that. And I saw some YouTube, and like I could probably learn, but like I'm gonna be starting from the ground fucking floor, because I never put as much emphasis on my right hand, and my right hand is not as fluid as my left. My left isn't even that fluid anymore, to be honest with you, you know, because I don't play as much. But so going back to the original point, you know, when I play and you say, "Oh man, you make it look fluid," there are certain things I can do that I've practiced a million times since I was a teenager that. Yeah, I would say that, yeah, I'm pretty good with that style, or, you know, I could hold my own with that, you know, or this and that.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking to the guys that are doing what I can't do that I want to do. So in my head, I'm like, man, I'm still got a long way to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Kind of like when we were watching.
You got to stay ambitious. Yeah. You know, you got to always have something to chase, you know.
Got to chase that bone, man.
Yeah, I don't know about the bone, but I know what you mean. I get the sentiment. Anyway,
all right.
Well, we chatted it up for already an hour. Shit.
And we said we had nothing to say.
I know. Look at us. Once I get going, I get going. Well, I was actually telling my mom real quick before we end that like I actually like when it's just me and you, because I feel a little bit more relaxed. When we have guests, I don't know what it is, but you know, there's a little bit more pressure to perform. I guess, or just keep everyone in
like
honed in. And like I get, you know, obviously we do this all the time, so I feel a lot more comfortable in front of you than someone like Jrat or even Mike or even Dave, who are my friends, who I know and I've known forever. But like, I don't know, this just because when we first started, you know, there was this like awkwardness. Yeah. I call it like when you perform, because I've performed for a long time since I was a kid, like music and stuff. There becomes like this hyper self-awareness, you know what I'm saying? That's why like when you hear about like actors or even musicians, we're like, I try to you lose yourself, you know. You almost tell yourself you're not you want it to feel natural, so you have to get the idea that you're performing out of your head and you're just acting natural, you know what I'm saying? Or like same, like a lot of times when I would perform music with the band or with, you know, the band I was in, or I would almost sometimes like shut the audience off so that I can get this feeling of that I'm just playing with the band and that the audience matters, but I have to forget about the audience, because that's when my best performances would come out, when I'm able to sort of tap into that sort of losing yourself and not being super like hyper self-aware or hyper aware of the audience, and I'm just letting it out, you know, and I'm not
loosey-goosey, baby.
Loosey-goosey, son, you know, you're feeling loose, you know. So, you know, that obviously happened to us when we first started. Yeah. Now that doesn't happen so much if it's just me and you, but when there's people, then there's new people here, or I do, you know, I do feel it a little more. I can still overcome it, you know, but just a little, you know, background. Yeah. On what it's like to be a performer.
I feel you. I still
make
get
no
that
mistake, this is a performance.
Yeah, for me, the first 10 minutes is still like.
Yeah, right. Well, I feel it doesn't come. When I listen back, it doesn't come across. So, that's kind of helps me get past it. I'm like, well, if the audience doesn't know, that's really what matters.
Yeah.
Even though we're telling them right now exactly what goes on.
But just pretend like you didn't hear that.
But it's like it's almost like breaking the fourth wall. I personally like to hear about like the process and what really goes on beside someone's head because, like I said, it's sort of like it's inspiring or it makes it less intimidating. Like, oh, they're regular people like me. Maybe I can do this if I worked hard enough at it. You know what I'm saying?
That's our way of connecting to the audience.
Yeah, we want to let you in, man. Want you to feel like you're part of the podcast. Anyways, I guess we should wrap it up. Good show.
Good show.
Good show.
Good show.
Great work.
Great show.
Amazing show. Our best show yet.
You guys are great.
Get a little. You guys are the best. All right then. Well, Jrat, thanks for coming in. Mike, thanks for coming in. Dave, thanks for coming in. Philippe, it's always a pleasure.
Barack Obama, thank you. Thanks, man.
Andrew Dice, Jerry Seinfeld,
Matt Groening, thanks.
Matt Groening, Trey Parker, all our guests today. We want to thank you. You guys were all amazing. Subscribe if you like what you hear. We actually are planning on expanding the channel and doing more different types of content.
Oh, yeah.
So for those who watch us and who actually see the whole podcast, thank you. And we're going to try and, get better. Believe it or not, like we actually actively think, like, how can we make the show better or how can we make the channel better? So we do that for you guys because you guys are our life's blood. We love you, and hopefully you love us.
Yeah, we just want to provide good content for y'all.
So if you like us and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like this podcast or this video, hit the like button. Hit that bell. I'm always on the fence about the bell. You know me.
Yeah.
I don't like to get too many notifications on my phone. But if you like it, hit that motherfucking bell. And, Philippe, anything to say?
Nothing. Thank you guys very much.
All right, everyone. I guess final word would be, I know there's a lot going on, especially if you live in the United States. It's a very turbulent time. There's a lot of political issues. It's a very confusing time. People are riled up. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, just take a deep breath. Listen to the podcast. Know that it's going to be all right, probably. I don't know. Trump's a madman. But it's most likely going to be all right. And, take care of yourself.
Go out and vote. Don't forget to vote.
Go out and vote. If you really want to fucking, put your hat in the ring, that's kind of the only way.
Oh, yeah.
And, don't be too hard on yourself. Take care of yourself. And, be kind to others. And we'll see you next time.
Later.